you really hate Sean Combs.
Why would they be thinking that?
Because of the things that you post on Instagram,
Yeah,
because of the...
Look at this. And let's stop for a second and do say that I hated him enough to hire his kids. And we've never done anything to each other. So it's just competitive energy and things that you say about other artists while you're in hip-hop culture.
Diddy's situation has taken a serious turn as 50 Cent's latest move delivers a powerful blow that may have crushed any remaining hope of relief. New revelations brought forward through 50 Cent's Netflix project have reignited intense scrutiny around Sean Combs, dragging long-buried controversies back into the spotlight and reopening discussions tied to the unresolved Tupac Shakur case. With public attention surging and pressure building fast, the walls appear to be closing in, signaling that Diddy's road ahead is anything but clear and escape looks more distant than ever.
50 Cent don't give a damn. He don't give a damn. He literally is saying he's going to reach out to Trump to remind Trump of the things that P. Diddy has said about him for the sole express purposes of making sure that Trump doesn't pardon Diddy in the event that Diddy gets convicted of trafficking and racketeering. That's what 50 Cent has sworn to do. And I got to admit to you, that's wild. Damn, you know you got an enemy there when the man want to go out of his way to contact the president, and clearly he has some kind of inroads where he can get to President Trump so President Trump can hear him. He's basically saying, yo, brother need to go down.
Diddy was already under heavy scrutiny after reports surfaced that he violated prison rules by drinking and making phone calls. But this documentary appears to have pushed everything over the edge. The project has intensified pressure to the point where Diddy is now aggressively trying to shut it down, fully aware of the damage it's causing. His legal team has issued cease and desist notices and is reportedly threatening massive legal action against both 50 Cent and Netflix, demanding over $1 billion in damages. The problem for that strategy is simple. 50 Cent secured his material through lawful means, leaving the documentary standing firm and the fallout growing stronger by the day.
Diddy's legal team sent Netflix a cease and desist letter, but now the big rumor is that they're preparing a defamation lawsuit, potentially for $1 billion. Over the Sean Combs The Reckoning documentary. They're claiming it uses stolen and unauthorized footage to create a shameful hit piece and damages reputation.
Is there precedent? Because when it's a documentary, footage doesn't necessarily have to be approved if it's considered a news piece.
And since you didn't watch it, Ebro, there's one piece.
I watched some of it.
Where, there's very intimate footage of Diddy with his lawyers. But in the documentary, it also talks about how he hired a young person to film him for X amount of hours, a lot, and didn't pay him. So if 50 comes along and is like, I will pay you for this footage.
Well, unless
that's the biggest congrats, by the way.
Well, depending on what the documentation is between that, that person and Diddy.
Yeah.
Right? If that documentation says that this footage is yours if I am paid. If I am not paid, the footage is mine.
Well, no, but I think the default would be it's his. If they didn't end up doing paperwork and the guy's just been allowed access, that's his footage.
Oh, yeah, 1,000%. If there's not paperwork.
So if Diddy never signed paperwork, he was like, no, I'm going to get you when I get you.
Yeah, that's right.
Now Diddy never gave him $1. Now Diddy went to jail. He's holding all this footage. 50 goes, I'd like that footage. All right, how much, bud?
Yeah.
This documentary didn't just shake Diddy's public image, it appears to have shattered trust behind the scenes as well. Newly released, never-before-seen footage reportedly shows tense interactions with his legal team, including discussions that raise serious questions about judgment and conduct. The situation escalated when it emerged that private phone conversations with his own lawyers were secretly recorded, exposing internal strategies and sparking outrage among those meant to defend him. With confidence fractured and tensions boiling over, the fallout suggests that the damage isn't limited to the courtroom, it's cut straight through Diddy's inner circle.
This is awful that Diddy owes his life to Mark Agnifilo, literally his life, because he could have gotten life in prison were it not for Mark Agnifilo. his defense lawyer, who had a brilliant strategy. And Diddy screwed him over when he hired this videographer to chronicle his life without telling Mark Agnifilo that when Diddy and Mark were on the phone, this videographer was recording what Mark clearly expected to be an attorney-client privileged relationship. Now, it is true that the client holds that privilege, the lawyer doesn't, but Mark's clear expectation was that this was a private conversation. These were private conversations, and that he and Diddy could talk openly, and Mark could talk to Diddy not just as a client, but as a person, and tried to guide him in a time leading up to his arrest. And unbeknownst to Mark Agnifilo, Diddy has got this guy recording the conversation as he's sitting there saying, "You are screwing this up. You are messing up this case. We're losing." And knowing that that's on tape. And it's almost like he's performing for the camera.
According to growing commentary around the case, the only reason Diddy ever found a path forward was due to aggressive legal maneuvering and persuasive courtroom strategy, even as damaging recordings circulated publicly. Now, with new legal pressure mounting and confidence reportedly shaken, that safety net appears to be fraying fast. If his legal defense scales back or distances itself from the latest developments, the outlook turns grim, signaling that any chance of relief could disappear entirely and that the door ahead may be closing for good.
The really enraging part about it is that Mark Agnifilo won this case for Diddy with legal strategy. It wasn't just an accident that this jury that had heard all of this in the news before the trial voted not guilty on all the serious charges. It was Mark Agnifilo that did that. Yet Diddy secretly records this guy and embarrasses him. And yeah, you could say, well, Diddy never expected that it would end up being broadcast somewhere else. Well, okay, but Diddy was planning on using it, or he wouldn't have had it recorded in the first place. So it's just really, really unfair.
Diddy reportedly believed he would walk away untouched and was even preparing to release his own documentary. But that plan unraveled fast. According to the narrative now circulating, the reason 50 Cent obtained the footage in the first place traces back to a fallout with the videographer, who was allegedly denied proper payment despite Diddy's immense resources. That decision backfired hard, putting sensitive material into someone else's hands and flipping the power dynamic overnight. 50 Cent later reinforced this claim through a public Instagram post featuring Roger Bonds, making it clear that the situation had already run its course, and at this point, even Diddy's legal team may have little left to fight for.
Getting it as your bonds. Yo, man, how 50 get? Blah, blah, blah. Yo, Puff, take this out on that. Let me explain something to y'all. All right? Whether it's NDAs, whether it's whatever. When these young boys come in, first of all, he only deal with young videographers because he want to rob them, and he know that they want the opportunity to follow Puff Daddy, P. Diddy. They want that opportunity. So they get him at a low price anyway. But when you stay out so many hours a day, Puff wants a videographer with him 24 hours a day on the call. Whether we on a yacht, whether we on a ship, wherever we at, he wants to videotape that, right? So now, they come to agreement. They come to whatever the pay is going to be. But then it be so many hours on that invoice that he don't want to pay. He gets in touch with the office. He gets in touch with the chief of staff. Yo, what is this I'm paying? What is this I'm paying? You know what you paying. You was outside all of these hours. It's 160 something hours in a week. You was outside 140. That's the invoice he put in. So now, being if you got a contract and he don't stand to that contract, guess what happens? He could do whatever he want to do with that footage. So now that footage goes to the highest bidder. And 50 had to be the highest bidder to get there. Yo, this is business. You know what I'm saying? Everybody ain't in love with you. Everybody ain't dedicated. Everybody ain't loyal to the point of stupidity.
50 Cent isn't just unveiling material, he's applying non-stop pressure, reaching out directly to the court and formally opposing any attempt by Diddy to secure an appeal. And the situation keeps getting heavier, because this is far from the end of what he has in his possession. In a recent interview, 50 revealed that he's sitting on more than 140 hours of unreleased footage that allegedly shows deeply troubling behavior, with plans to roll it out publicly on YouTube in the coming months. With momentum building and scrutiny intensifying by the day, it's clear this campaign is calculated, relentless, and potentially coordinated at the highest levels, leaving Diddy facing a storm that shows no signs of slowing down.
50 Cent was not done with Diddy. I knew 50 Cent was not done with Diddy. He just confirmed that he has more stuff on Diddy that he couldn't even fit in the 4 episodes in the new Netflix Diddy documentary. With 50, it is so hard telling what this man got his hands on, but he said this in reference to the videos that he got of Diddy before he went to jail.
A lot of the personal footage of Diddy has shocked a lot of people. And I know, 50, the way you run, this cannot be all that you have. Is there other stuff that you just have not shown?
Yeah, well, everything couldn't make it's only was 4 episodes.
Right.
So it was a lot. You had to pick and choose things.
And on top of him saying that he has more dirt on Diddy, he is also saying that more people came to him with allegations against Diddy that never made it into the Netflix documentary. With the anticipation, they asked him, are you going to make a second documentary and put it on Netflix since you have all of this stuff? And he says that he is about to put it on YouTube.
With everything that was out and all of these people that were coming forward, have there been any new tips that you've gotten since it has been released?
Well, yeah, everyone starts to feel a little more comfortable when they see other people telling their truth about it.
Yeah. So, it's got to be something on YouTube coming.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm not gonna lie, I felt like certain things were left out of this doc.
Just months ago, Diddy's legal team publicly signaled confidence, confirming plans to appeal his convictions and expressing strong belief that he would be granted bail. At the time, Diddy appeared convinced that he had done nothing wrong and maintained that, despite the verdict, he deserved to walk away without serving time. That confidence painted a picture of control and optimism, but with circumstances rapidly shifting and pressure mounting, those earlier assurances now feel increasingly disconnected from the reality closing in around him.
We are planning to appeal.
I want to hear them, bro.
We are planning to appeal. We think we have strong bases to appeal. The strongest basis is that the jury reached a verdict on coercion. It found there was not coercion. And I think the judge said coercion today as a basis for a sentence at least a dozen times. We think that is unconstitutional. Yep. We think that a jury verdict should mean more than our jury's verdict seems to mean, and so we are planning to appeal.
Absolutely. Filed a cross appeal. What would happen in that regard if they filed a cross appeal and then Sean Diddy Combs get a higher sentence?
He would not get a higher sentence, and they're not gonna cross appeal. We're gonna appeal. We think we're right, and they'll respond to the appeal, and it'll be decided by the Second Circuit as soon as.
Tell us about the conversation you had with your client after the sentencing. Consensual. The judge clearly thought the sexual encounters weren't consensual.
Because he's biased.
What did you make of his remarks?
He's biased.
I'm happy to go. So we think that's just absolutely inconsistent with the jury's verdict. I mean, the jury's verdict was resoundingly clear. There was no sex trafficking. There was no racketeering. Everything was consensual. Everything was adult, which is why he was convicted only of the prostitution offense. What we feel happened today was that the judge acted as a 13th juror, one that we did not choose, and that he second-guessed the jury's verdict.
It wasn't just an appeal Diddy was counting on behind the scenes. His strategy reportedly reached much higher. Before the documentary dropped, it was publicly acknowledged that his team had explored the possibility of a presidential pardon, with media outlets suggesting that, if everything aligned, he could have been free as early as the end of the year. This push allegedly began even before sentencing, reflecting how confident Diddy was in escaping consequences altogether. But with new developments derailing that roadmap and the spotlight intensifying, What once looked like a calculated exit now appears to be a plan unraveling in real time.
On some breaking news right now, and Sean Combs is taking the first step to appeal his conviction and prison sentence. His attorney today filed a notice of appeal. Earlier this month, the disgraced music mogul was sentenced to 4 years in prison on prostitution-related charges. His lawyers have argued the conviction should not stand because Combs lacked a financial motive for transporting male escorts. More papers detailing the arguments behind the appeal are expected to be filed.
50 Cent has been working relentlessly to block every possible exit Diddy might have tried to take, and many believe he's a key reason those behind-the-scenes maneuvers never worked. From challenging, questionable tactics to keeping pressure on the process, 50 stayed directly involved at critical moments, even going as far as submitting a formal letter to the judge ahead of sentencing that urged a tougher outcome. His actions sent a clear message that he wasn't stepping back or staying silent, positioning himself as a constant force, determined to make sure accountability wasn't avoided.
Let me also write a letter to the judge. 50 said, "Dear Judge Subramanian, I have an ongoing dispute with Puffy for over 20 years. He's very dangerous. Multiple times I have feared for my life. I think you should consider the safety of the general public, Your Honor, before unleashing him upon them. There hasn't been enough time for him to reform or make any adjustments, despite him trying to teach a class in there. As you are already aware, the government has spent the maximum amount of money on deploying federal agencies, which appear to be an army in 2 locations simultaneously. Later, his son, who's dealing with his own rape allegations." Hey, come on, brother. Come on, man. What Christian Combs got to do with this, 50? He claimed that the feds had hit the wrong house. Anyway, Diddy's only going to return to hiring more male sex workers and keeping most of the baby oil away from the general public. And babies need it. My Netflix doc on this scandalous subject is coming soon. Oh man, this is downright evil, you guys. Why would 50 send this to the judge?
Believe it or not, some critics have tried to turn the spotlight on 50 Cent, accusing him of acting out of jealousy toward Diddy's success. But that claim collapses the moment you look at reality. 50 isn't a fading name, chasing attention. He's a proven multimillionaire with major influence across music, television, and film, built through years of calculated moves and successful ventures. At this stage of his career, jealousy offers him nothing, while speaking out carries real risk, making it clear that his actions aren't driven by envy, but by conviction and a willingness to stand firm regardless of the consequences.
50 Cent isn't fazed by the online hate after some social media users called the rapper, quote, petty for producing the Netflix documentary Sean Combs' The Reckoning. 50 Cent tells the Go Derby in an interview published December 9th that he really doesn't sweat the criticism, saying, "I accept that, I'll take that, I'll wear that. I have antics that I have become comfortable with on social media." And while some believe the docuseries is a, quote, hit piece on Combs, the rapper maintains that was never the intent, explaining they did characterize it as a hit piece in the very beginning. It's because they didn't get a chance to watch it when they were saying that. And then after they see it, you see everyone's changed their mind and it's become the #1 doc. And as for Combs' thought on the Netflix series, the mogul spoke out against his rival shortly before the project hit the platform, with his attorney telling Variety on December 1st, Netflix's so-called documentary is a shameful hit piece. Netflix relied on stolen footage that was never authorized for release. As Netflix and CEO Ted Sarandos know, Mr. Combs has been amassing footage since he was 19 to tell his own story in his own way. It is fundamentally unfair and illegal for Netflix to misappropriate that work.
50 responded to the hate in his own way during an interview with NBC. He told NBC News his motivation was that if he stayed quiet, people would assume hip-hop is fine with his behavior and that there's no one else being vocal, framing it as a culture issue rather than a clout move. In related interviews around the same time, he literally said he'll accept the petty label and wear that.
Does he know y'all have this in the doc?
I would doubt he knows.
So when this airs, that'll be the first time that his legal team, Diddy, that everybody knows that this footage is now seeing the light of day. Perhaps. What was he intending to use it for?
I have no idea what he was doing that for.
I mean, you know, you're talking about a man who films himself doing everything, and has for decades. I think he wanted someone to be behind the...
Watch this and think that you really hate Sean Combs.
Why would you be thinking that?
Because of the things that you post on Instagram, because of the...
Look at this. And let's stop for a second and do say that I hated him enough to hire his kids. And we've never done anything to each other. So it's just competitive energy and things that you say about other artists while you're in hip-hop culture.
This documentary is one of several that has chronicled Combs' rise and fall, but Stapleton says theirs is different.
Yeah, there's a lot of new information. No one had ever really put it together like that before.
For 50 Cent, he says he feels a sense of obligation.
Well, if I didn't say anything, you could assume that all of hip-hop culture is comfortable with his actions.
Saying a black man shouldn't be doing this to another black man. How come we not having conversations about what Diddy did to other black people? Like when you watch that documentary, every person on that documentary except for Aubrey O'Day is black. So how come nobody is saying a black man shouldn't do that to other black people? Because here's the thing, there are things we know Diddy did because we saw it, and there are things he's being accused of. We don't know if they're true. Right. But either way, majority of people who are accusing him of something are black. So I don't understand why, there's more conversations about that, but everybody's 50 Cent shouldn't be doing this to another black man. What about all the black people Diddy did and allegedly...
50 addressed the backlash directly in an interview with NBC, making it clear that silence was never an option for him. He explained that staying quiet would have sent the wrong message, suggesting that the culture was willing to overlook the behavior and that no one was willing to speak up, which he firmly rejected. Rather than chasing attention, he framed his stance as a matter of accountability and responsibility, emphasizing that the issue was bigger than headlines or clout. And when critics tried to label him as petty, he didn't back down instead. He openly embraced it, signaling that he'd rather be outspoken and criticized than complicit through silence.
Yeah, he got everybody going, man. He's getting a lot of backlash, man. Like, people are like mad at 50 for getting behind this thing.
Well, see, the thing about it is that people are out their rabbit ass mind. And they gonna sit up here and they gonna say some stuff like, they try to make it up like, it's because of a girl, it's because of a woman. A man that can have any woman in the damn world, you understand, go any parts of the world, find beautiful women all over the world, that's willing to do whatever he wants to. I'ma be mad because this dude got this one? Nah, it's bigger and it's more than that. They don't wanna say it. A lot of these cats out here don't wanna tell the truth behind shit. You understand? When 50 was out here, trying to get into, he was writing for most of Puff stuff. He was writing for artists. He was writing for different people. LL, Puff, whatever he can get money at, to do some writing and stuff like that. Jam Master Jay had him writing shit, something like that. So, Fifth was writing. Then when he did How to Rob the Industry Cat joint, he's supposed to be the next one to come out of New York. You understand what I'm saying? He gets in this beef, with Murder Inc., Ja, Irv Gotti, Supreme them. They try to eliminate him. Then Puff and the other people put a tag on him where is that, don't let him make no money. Don't sign him. You ain't gonna have nothing but problems. They put a bad tag on him. You understand? He got to go to the West Coast and with Dre and Eminem to get his deal. You understand what I'm saying? So they put this tag on him to stop him from eating his craft. You understand? They try to kill him. You understand? Because they got a problem with him. And then you supposed to have some love. So people who try to take you out of here, try to stop you from eating and everything like that, Diddy was a part of that too.
50 also shut down the narrative that his actions were driven by personal resentment, directly dismissing rumors that this had anything to do with Diddy's past relationship choices. He made it clear that reducing the situation to gossip completely misses the point, emphasizing that his stance has nothing to do with emotion or history and everything to do with accountability. By cutting through that distraction, 50 reinforced that this isn't about grudges or personal drama. It's about drawing a firm line, standing on principle, and refusing to let serious issues be brushed aside with cheap speculation.
All right, the diddler has sent 50 Cent some damn flowers while he locked up, bro. All right, we all know Diddy is mad about this whole docu-series that 50 put out on Netflix and is #1 going crazy, so you know he mad. Now, according to 50, all right, these are some warning flowers. Y'all know how Diddy used to get down. You know, he used to send people shit in the mail. He'll send a nigga to blow up a car. Y'all know how he get down. So if he mad, clearly he's mad about this documentary. Bro sent 50 some flowers at his hotel while he was in Miami, bro. Now, I ain't gonna show the address on these flowers, but 50 posted the whole address. Now, in the caption, 50 said, "What kind of gay shit is this? Diddy send me flowers at Club 11, LOL. LOL, why all the foreplay? Get busy, you know I'm stupid." Then he commented again and said, "A warning, I'm 90s grimy. You don't warn me, LOL." So y'all know why Diddy sent this. He ain't send it because he happy or proud of 50 for dropping this goddamn docuseries on his demon ass, bro.
Tensions escalated when Diddy reportedly began pushing back hard against 50 for speaking out, raising questions about support coming from beyond the walls. Just one day after the documentary examining Sean Combs aired, 50 revealed that he received an unexpected bouquet of flowers, allegedly sent by Diddy, a move that immediately sparked speculation. 50 addressed it publicly on Instagram, making it clear he understood the message behind the gesture and wasn't intimidated by it. Rather than backing down, the moment only reinforced the standoff, signaling that pressure tactics were in play, but resolve on the other side remained unshaken.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. We are following new developments in the case of the hip-hop mogul who is facing RICO charges in New York, Sean P. Diddy Combs. Court TV has just confirmed that the family of Tupac Shakur is investigating a potential link between the murder of Tupac and Sean Diddy Combs. This coming from attorney Alex Spiro, who represents Tupac's family. Now, this investigation had been previously reported by unnamed sources, but earlier today, Spiro confirmed to our Court TV team that he and a team of investigators has been hired.
Sean Combs allegedly had business dealings with Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, who will go on trial next March for the murder of Tupac. This was back in 1996. Some have speculated that Diddy ordered Tupac's death. That, of course, is just a theory at this point, and we are monitoring the developments in both the Tupac murder trial and the federal indictment of Sean Diddy Combs. So a lot of information to come.
I get it. When you have a case that's 5 years old, it's hard to get overwhelming evidence that meets the burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. When you have cases this old, no matter what Fiddy has found out and put in this documentary, do you see it at all ever possible that Diddy could be involved in a murder trial when it comes to Biggie and Tupac?
It could be possible, yes. However, like I said, they need a lot of corroboration to make that stick, because it's really alleged right now as to his involvement. It's not anything that's substantial or concrete that he was involved. It's personally from people talking about it and saying this is what happened. You need some more information to come forward to prove that.
For Diddy, the most damaging development now would be renewed federal scrutiny, and 50 Cent appears determined to keep that pressure alive. A central focus of the docuseries revisits long-standing allegations linking Diddy to the deaths of Tupac, Shakur, and the notorious B.I.G., revisiting claims that have circulated for decades but were never resolved in court. These accounts, which remain unproven and disputed, have nonetheless reignited public interest, prompting Tupac's family to reportedly bring in an independent investigator to re-examine the circumstances. With attention intensifying and unanswered questions resurfacing, the possibility of deeper legal review looms larger than ever, adding another layer of risk to an already volatile situation.
They sitting there, and when they ask about him making eye contact or about him looking at the jury, they both lied. In my opinion, they both lied. The way when it asked, well, did he ever make eye contact? No. No, well, see, they gave instructions and said, you can't look at him. But The girl sat there and was talking about how he would look over at the jury because he forgot where he was, and how, you know, sometimes he would nod and do this. But you said that he never looked over at the jury. You said that you never made eye contact with him. And then she starts talking about, yeah, because I just think that he nods back and forth because he always used to do that. If you were never a fan of him, if you were only a fan of the artist, and you were never a fan of him, and you were never paying, like, and then the way they were able to edit in him nodding back and forth during making the band and all of that, like, it's just kind of wild to me that nobody is seeing exactly how compromised these jurors are.
Authorities have indicated that this matter is already under active review, with investigators continuing to assess available information and follow emerging leads. The main challenge, according to those familiar with the process, isn't launching an inquiry, but securing first-hand cooperation from individuals who may have relevant knowledge. Until that happens, progress remains measured. But the confirmation alone signals that scrutiny is real, ongoing, and far from fading, keeping pressure firmly in place as the tension around the case continues to build.